Hello, motherfuckers. Did I do it okay?
Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, this is episode number 12.
Yeah.
I almost screamed that.
2 episodes in one day.
Myself.
I mean, man, this energy in here is incredible. So we figured we'd do another one.
We're not releasing them the same day, though.
Definitely not, no.
But yep, number 2, we can't stop talking.
Awesome.
And we are making babies here in the room. We started with David, and now we have JP here too.
What's going on?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Perfect. Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm just checking the levels. Let's go.
Okay, perfect.
Just making
So,
sure.
Yeah.
David is here again. Yes.
Can't get rid of me.
We don't want to get rid of
Okay.
you. We just said we want you here again, and he's like, okay, I'm here.
Bingo.
Perfect.
Now we got one of my best friends, JP, here.
Hey.
We've known each other for like 200 years.
I think we're getting old.
Nice. Cool.
And you know that there is like a juice bottle right in front of your face, so I can actually see.
No, I'm next to you in spirit, don't worry.
So,
But I'm very happy to have you here. So, David, we can do again. Super quick intro. Who are you again?
David
If
Morin,
somebody forgot.
father of 4. I keep doing whatever I do till I break through. I don't quit. Thanks.
Exactly. He does a lot of magazine covers. He's into fitness. He has a very interesting brain, which we've been picking all day here now.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of interesting things to say. And JP, who the fuck are you?
Wait, hold on one second, because you introduced me as a guy from TikTok who strips, right? That was like the main...
Yes.
the main introduction.
Yes.
The TikTok stripper.
His AKA. He strips on
That's
TikTok.
right.
yeah,
Okay.
welcome, David Morin.
You guys are welcome to try to search this. We'll see if somebody can find
TikTok
something.
The
strippers.
TikTok stripper.
So
Oh, yeah, so
who
I
are you?
am Jean-Philippe Etienne. I'm a photographer here in Miami. And yeah, that's it.
That's it. There is much more to it.
Oh, there's a lot
He's
more.
one of the coolest, most genuine people. I don't have a lot of friends, and he's been my friend even before I made friends. Like, I have more friends these days. I've found good people in the world, but you were there, not all the way from the beginning, but early.
You want to make me
He's a
cry?
very good guy.
Gonna make me cry.
Nice. So today's episode, we're going to talk about a few topics as usual, but the main one would be intentions. And I believe we kind of discussed earlier about our perspective as men in relationships in the dating world today, because we hear a lot of the
Was
women.
I considered one of the men here?
Well, you could say that you're a little masculine.
Whatever you
That's okay.
identify
That's
with.
okay.
Right?
Or am
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
speaking?
Whatever you
Or am
identify
I
with.
answering for all the women here? Maybe both.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe both.
we've all been in relationships before, so we've got to see the.
You can either validate our conclusions, as we discussed among men about our experiences and about women. You could go, that's bullshit. Or
Yeah.
you can be like, you know what? You're right. I know ladies, and this is exactly how they are.
I'm gonna know because everybody knows I'm not gonna say I'm not like other women, but I'm probably not like most women. But I'm gonna try to answer in my opinion, but also in what I think women think, if that makes sense. So let's go.
Okay,
I'm interested.
cool.
I'm
I mean, go right ahead, please. Were you going to say something?
No, I'm just agreeing with you guys.
Oh, okay, cool. So, guys, what do you guys feel about dating nowadays in terms of like this generation of dating? Has it changed from 5 years ago? Like, what is it now? What's your perspective on that?
Up to you.
Well, you look
like
at,
no, we don't have anything to say.
look at how everything is manipulated by 2 neurochemicals, dopamine and serotonin. Your phone is manipulating your dopamine and serotonin on many levels, the screen, the way it looks, how many likes you get, whatever. So the attention deficit syndrome of immediate gratification, all reality is based on everything that we live in the world is based on a system of rewards that manipulates that feel-good hormone, serotonin, dopamine, everything, right? If you're able to delay that gratification, then you can achieve a greater, more substantial, satisfactory hit. But we're getting a slow drip, and that's the dating world. Everybody wants that little slow drip, that little quick hit, that little thing that they can turn on and turn off and get what they want just for that moment. The relationships for me have always been about the test when it comes to training or whatever it is. Delaying the gratification. I'm not into fast food. I'm not going to, because I'm hungry now, going to cheat. I'm not going to go look for something that isn't what I exactly want. And I'm willing to abstain from all of these quick fixes to get what it is that my heart truly desires, because I know that's the only thing that's going to satisfy me. And that's a case-by-case basis every day, just trying to connect to people and understand how they work. What do they really believe in? What do they really value? Are you just saying that because I'm here? Are you just saying that because you're just trying to connect to me? Is this an application that you're trying to get to me? I mean, it's very difficult, first of all, just to be yourself. Yeah. That's a huge challenge, just to be yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at with the dating game. Yeah. It's frustrating.
Yeah, that was a fantastic introduction to this podcast. Yeah. I love that you said that, and I think I said all of us are kind of in the age where I think we've all probably dated at some point before it was so extreme as it is today. But I think that a lot of young people today, they're growing up with only this. They don't even know anything else. So I'm wondering, what is this going to look like in another 10 years?
Sterility.
Oh, definitely. I like what you said, though. And you mentioned how people are trying to find themselves and trying to be complete with somebody else. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why dating is so difficult, because you have a bunch of incomplete people trying to complete themselves with somebody else. And I think that one of the biggest things that we should do, or that, especially I can only speak for myself, something that I've tried to do is be as complete of a person as possible before expecting to find that in somebody else. Like if I don't feel complete physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, for me to go out there and try to date somebody else and expect her to fill in those parts of myself that I'm not filling yet, I feel it's a disservice to her, it's a disservice to me, and I'm going to keep going in a circle. Like that, I see that all the time now, especially with people who are younger than me. Like, I'm not that old yet, hopefully, but my brother is in his early 20s, my sister as well, and I feel like they're looking to be completed. And they're doing what I used to do all the time, like trying to find that missing piece when that isn't the case, because we're all complete individuals now. And so I think it's super hard. Like it's hard to date right now. It's really, really hard.
So you need to find somebody else. Like when you feel like you're complete, you need to find the other person that is also complete.
That's also complete. Yeah.
Well, just to add to that, because there's also an argument that stems with that conversation, because us as men, we visualize this level of accomplishment, right? In terms of financial success, in terms of whatever your version of success may be. But financially, we want to be able to take care of somebody, right? But all the trial and error that we have to go through to get there, it's almost like at times, when are we going to achieve it? And then what tends to happen is during that time of you trying to achieve that goal, you become lonely. You're like, man, well, maybe I could be in a relationship. Maybe even though I'm not financially where I need to be, maybe this person could add some type of substance in my life that would either elevate me or push me towards my goal a little faster. I will admit that I used to be that type of individual where I would try to like these things, like whatever. So for example, if I was dating Max, if Max liked pineapple on pepperoni and on pizza or whatever, I would be like, oh wow, I mean,
I'm Hawaiian.
Exactly.
Right.
You didn't know I was Hawaiian?
Yeah. So I would be like, oh well, I kind of like it too. Like I would try to force myself to like these things just to please her, and then try to form some type of companionship, relationship, whatever. Now as I'm getting older, I'm like what he just said, I'm like, fuck that. Like, if I'm on prep, or even if I'm on my personal prep and this person wants to go have a cheat meal, I'm going to be, and if I don't feel like doing it, I'm going to say, honestly, I can't. I will go with you, but I'm not going to eat with you. I'll bring my own prep. And if you think that's weird to you, then I don't think the relationship's going to work, because this is my career. This is what I do for my life. And I never thought about that, you know? So
100%.
Max, I want to ask you, do you think because that's where I'm at right now. I've learned that a man who's true to his purpose is always going to be true to that purpose. And then you're supposed to find somebody who can, who appreciates that and respects that. And from what my understanding, like, I don't know, do women like that? Do women like a man who's sure in his purpose and won't deviate from that?
I can only answer for myself. And I think the way I think about these things have definitely changed. And for every year I get older, it's more and more clear to me what matters. And one thing that I know in my past relationships was that I always thought that there were all of these things like I don't care, you know, if he likes to work out. Like, I don't care if he's fit. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. And now I'm like, yeah, I do care. And you know why? It's not because I need a guy that looks hot. I don't need a guy with a six-pack. I don't need this. I don't need that. But this is such a big part of my life, and I am obsessed with health. Like, I need to feel good. I need to be happy. I need to be healthy. I need to sleep well. I need all of these things. And I've dated people in the past that didn't take care of their health, and they were always miserable, always had a headache, always had a stomach ache, never wanted to do anything because there was always something wrong with them. So that's one thing. Another thing is, I've actually dated a person in the past who did not have a passion for anything. And I've realized that I don't care what your passion is. You can like something that I know absolutely nothing about. You can like something I don't even like, but fucking like something. Like, it's so... I don't even know a good word for it. It's so unattractive when a person has zero passions in life.
You mean like a purpose person?
Yeah, like
not
whatever.
Knowing
like,
what their purpose are. And
yeah,
is that
like
what it is?
something that you just burn for. Like, if you love photography, okay, now I also like photography, but say you're dating somebody that doesn't care for photography at all.
Right.
She should love and respect the fact that you love that.
Right.
And it's the same with me. I don't care. You don't need to compete. You don't need to like photography. But I would date people in the past who would be like, why do you always talk about work? No, I talk about photography because it's my passion in life. And yeah, I happen to make money on it. You don't want me to talk about it? No, because it's a job. Stop talking about that when we're not working. Like, I can't live my life like that.
That's crazy.
I want to talk about it because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, there's a compatibility factor too, right? So if there's I see it as there's a number of combinations that have a high probability of working in relationships. If you have someone who's clearly the supportive role, they're willing to kind of sacrifice their passions to be supportive for you.
but they should not.
They shouldn't, but if you have a support, if you have a sport or something that you're really focused on, you're going to need that support. Once there comes a point where you need that supportive partner, right? Then there's the other side of it where it's like that person has their passions and they're completely different than yours, right? And you're able to kind of trust each other, right? And you both do your own thing and you share kind of an interdependence, not a codependency, but an interdependence where you can come together and you can, that's what's fresh is like this person lives an entirely different life than I do. And you both know each other, but you can both throw everything into a pot and you stir it up and it works.
Yeah.
It's good. But then what oftentimes you'll find too is the person that's the unconditional giver has to know that up front, that that's what they're signing up for. And those particular people I have the utmost respect for, because even though you said that, you know, you don't align with people that haven't found their passion, but I think some people's passion and purpose is to be supportive and giving. And I think
I agree.
Yeah.
But I know that for me personally, that's not a person I can be with.
Maybe at that particular time in your life, it wasn't something that you valued because it didn't bring value to your life. But at a certain point in your life, maybe that will bring all the value in your life. It just depends.
Maybe.
You know?
I need space. I need my time, my alone time. I need to do things alone. I always thought I wanted to have a partner where we could do everything together. I thought I wanted a man that we were going to run our business together, that we were going to do all these things together.
Right.
And now I know that, no, that's not what I want. It doesn't mean we can't do something together. Yes, definitely. But I don't want to have a person that I do everything with.
I want to ask you a question, JP, later after this. Right after a pretty good question. But what about when you hear these stories of these great men like Denzel Washington, where he had a passion for acting and he couldn't balance having a job and acting. So his wife said, you know what? Since you're so passionate about this, I'm going to be the bread provider to help you provide for your business or whatever. I'll take care of the home. Go and fulfill whatever you want to fulfill, whether it's, your dreams. Cool. And look at him now. Second person, wide receiver for the St. Louis Rams. I don't know if it's St. Louis now. LA Rams. LA Rams. Cooper Kupp. His wife worked a 9-to-5 job to support him and his family because he did not have the time to go to work and play football, because he was trying to become the top elite NFL wide receiver. And when he won the Super Bowl, was it last year? Or this year, whatever, last year, yeah. He literally bawled on the field, cried, and said, if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And you hear all these empowering stories as men, right? You're like, man, like, well, you know, I'm on my I'm on my road to greatness. And sometimes you want that support system, but in all actuality, could you still find that in today's society with you got to be that 1% man in order to be in a relationship? Because I feel like now, the way I'm being conditioned, it's almost like, well, I'm not 1% yet, so I can't be in a relationship. So how do you feel? Like, what do you think about that, JP?
I feel the exact same way. Like, it's almost like you're not enough. And no matter how hard you're working, you're still not at that position where it's like you feel comfortable enough to be like, okay, I'm ready to find that person. I agree. I think there's a lot of stress, especially in the city that we live in. Like, we live in a city that's always moving around, that's full of very successful people, that's full of a lot of ambitious individuals. And it's full of, I mean, I don't want to generalize it, but it's full of women who are looking for that in their man, right? They're looking for success. They're looking for the money. They're looking for that lifestyle. And so I think it's really difficult to discern when someone is really into you as an individual or into what you can provide for them. And I grew up very old school Latino. My mom's Dominican, my dad's from the islands, and my dad took care of everything in the house, right? But my mom also worked very, very hard. And so it's always like the guy pays the bills, the guy takes care of the kids, makes sure that the house is running, and the mom takes care of the family in that sense. But being able to be that person now, I feel like the demand is a lot higher than it was before. And now it's more than just being able to take care of a home. Now it's, can you support your wife's lifestyle? Can you support her ambitions as well? And
or is the opposite? What you just explained here, what I've told you guys. So I've had two, not everyone I've ever dated, but I have had two relationships where I was the supporter. And I wanted to be the person because I wanted the other person to find their passion. But both of these people, one of them was only health issues all the time. Always miserable, always depressed. And the other one, I swear to this day, does still not know.
I mean, obviously, other than social media, because social media has like literally destroyed the mindset of what dating is now. You know, what happened to the morals, the morality of dating, like the you know, actually being into somebody not because of what they do or what they have, but actually being with them because of who they are as men or as women. Why do you think that's changed? Why is this shift in dating? Is that even?
I mean, there's so many factors to address there. You know, everyone's a brand, right? So when you're a brand, your value is validated in the market. It's not validated on what your subjective belief is. You can find the most powerful person that can say the most impactful things, and they have no following, they have no like, but they're speaking from such a true place that their time is yet to come. You know, it'll be in the future. But it's this thing of, you know, I look at it like bodybuilding. I've had a lot of guys who, you know, they've gone into physique, right? And they're like, oh, dude, I wish I could have been around in fitness when you were coming, because you get a magazine, it's like, boom, you're in there. You get a supplement endorsement and you're on your way. And it's so hard to break out now, because if you're not in the top 5, you're nothing. And it's like, how are you going to establish the differentiation of your uniqueness when you're in a lineup of people where the degree of separation is nothing? Right. You look like them. You're all looking like the same. So you're committing the act of assimilation, and you're absolutely diminishing the value of what you really are is unique, right? So how do you establish that you're a unique person in the crowd? Separate yourself from the crowd. How does a woman separate herself from the crowd from me? By not acting like every other woman. You feel insecure because some other girl looks better than you. That's because you put yourself in a lineup, right? Take yourself out of the lineup and conduct yourself like a woman, right? Because that's what's in demand and that's what's of value. You conduct yourself with respect. Even if it's just like, I'm just going to try this. You know, oh, I know what I fucking want. You know, women, I know I'm not going to do that shit. You know, the attitude comes out, right?
Yeah.
Try for a second just being fucking respectful for 30 days.
Yeah.
Just be respectful and grateful for 30 days and watch how your life changes. And watch how men look at you and like, damn, like, is it fucking unicorn, Bigfoot? Who is that? What was that? You never see it. You never see it because everyone is so interested in what they want. It's like when you're watching and you go to an orchestra, right? and you have somebody, what if everyone in the orchestra was just completely committed to what they were doing? Right? It wouldn't be music, it would be chaos. And that's what it is. It's chaos. And the one person that knows, like, no, I'll have my chance to say what I need to say at the appropriate time. And I'm committed to doing that full in that moment. And that's what's pleasing, you know? Like knowing where your place is in the universe. It doesn't revolve around fucking you. That's the thing, is like, it's not all about you. It's about what you value, you provide to everything.
Definitely.
Yo, wow.
I think everyone is so focused on, you know, the outside here, because it happens so often. Like I hear like people like coach, or just I have like male friends of mine have new girlfriends and whatnot. They're always they're so insecure because there are other women that look better than them. But the only reason they feel this way is because they don't think they look good. Right. Because here's the thing. So let's say, if you are this woman and you look at this woman and she looks better than you, says who? According to who? According to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's going to be this whole crowd of men that think you look better. And then there's going to be a whole crowd of men who thinks the other woman look better. So the reason you're thinking in your mind for a second that you don't look good enough is because you don't like what you look like.
And personality accounts for a lot.
Yeah,
so
and
much
it's like people have to, and what looks good. So people come to me all the time, like, I don't know for how many years people would tell me, oh, you don't have any boobs. Well, guess what? Because I don't want any. I don't care. Oh, but men, how often did this comment? But men like big boobs.
No, babies like big boobs.
No, some men like big boobs. Right. You're speaking for yourself right now.
Sorry, most men are booty men.
No, but I was just saying, who the hell matters? Some people like big boobs. Some people like small boobs. Some people like big butts. Some people like small butts. Believe it or not, some people like muscles. Some people don't like muscles. Some people like blonde hair, brown hair. Like, who says who? It's always like this. Who are you basing this opinion?
Yeah, boobs are definitely have been correlated. Boob fixation.
Breast implants.
Yeah, it has to do with you weren't breastfed as a child.
What?
Yeah, the prevalence.
Really? I've never heard this.
I've heard of that.
The prevalence of men emphasis on breast size. It's a factor in procreative because it's a sign of vitality, but deeper than that, when you find someone who has like a pathological obsession with boobs, it's because they never.
We're talking about obsession. I just mean in general. Everybody has a connection
with the tit. You know? They never had connection with the tit ever as a child.
So they want to ask them in the comments. And they
yeah. No, I just mean that's just one comment. And I mean, there's a million different things. Like people like different stuff. And I said, if you are a woman and you are so insecure and you feel so insecure around other women, then ask yourself, what is it that you think is so great? Then go fucking work on that. I said, if you, a stupid example, but if you're blonde, but you think that brown hair is the best thing in the world, go fucking dye your hair. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what? Because it doesn't matter what you look like. So you're going to be somebody's type.
I mean, right? It's social media. That's what it is.
But it's so sad. That's why I am allergic to filters. Like, I cannot stand that shit.
Right. See how it's
somebody
creating
comes
our behavior?
To me.
Yeah. See how it's augmenting human behavior?
Oh, God, it just makes
First,
me
it was human
frustrated.
behavior being broadcast. Now it's human behavior assimilating to the program.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I want to start a social media app where it's impossible to put filters on it.
Right.
Like, I'm serious.
Isn't that what Texas did though?
Can we do?
Yeah. Texas banned filters, didn't they, on Instagram?
Yeah, Texas
Oh,
banned.
they did?
Yeah, they banned filters.
Yo, fuck yeah, Texas.
Don't fuck with Texas, man.
Let's
That's right.
go,
We don't want no
guys.
fake ass motherfuckers.
That's right.
No, because that would be if somebody comes and like hangs out with me, we do a podcast or you do a photo shoot with me, you're gonna end up on my story without filter.
Now,
Just
did
saying.
you guys hear? Did you guys hear about the guy that got married to a woman that did a ton of reconstructive surgery on her face?
No.
And so this is what happened. So he ended up marrying this woman, had like 4 kids with probably 3 kids with her, and none of the kids looked like her because she had done so much work to her face. He didn't know that. He met her. So what happened was
he's like.
Yeah, so he started. So I guess I don't know. He met her somewhere or whatever, and he fell in love with her, and obviously he married her, and she never spoke about getting anything done on her face. She got her nose job, she got her lips done, she had her bone structure done and everything. So she looks like a complete different person. So when the kids were born, he's like, he was like, all right, well, this is something going on. I think by the second kid, he's like, all right, what? This is kind of weird. Like, you're not looking at
Wow, this
like,
is so
crazy.
interesting.
yeah.
That's
So,
crazy, right?
you know, that's another thing that, that wows me. And no offense to anyone that's listening, if you do Botox or.
Hey, I'm all about all
I'm
that shit.
not Botox,
but it depends how.
I'm just reconstructing your face or doing your lips or whatever. Cool. I just feel like they shouldn't do it at a young age. I see these 17-year-old girls going in, getting
You
the
haven't
fillers.
developed.
You haven't
Yeah.
even I feel like even at 18, you haven't really developed your your facial structure, because as you get older, your face starts to change. You get older.
Another issue with that is like they have surgery so young, and their face and everything keeps changing. Like they're gonna want surgery again and again and
Yeah.
again, because they're gonna keep changing, right?
Yeah.
Because everything keeps growing.
Yeah, we got to have Dr. Jared on this podcast. I had a lot of questions for him.
Oh, he can literally. I will go live when I do Botox and shit, because I will be like, guys, this is me without anything. Boom, now this is me with it. Like, and I'm always like, I love Jared because he's great. Like, I would sit there and because I do it for my competitions. Like, I've posted my diet face and I've showed like my regular face versus my diet face, and it gets really bad. Like, it does. I'm not trying to glam that shit up. When you get that lean, it's not a beautiful sight. It's not for the face. So I definitely like that stuff on the stage. But he's like that. I will tell him, you know, Jared, do you think we should do more here or more? No, he says, no, it's good right now. We're stopping there. Like, it needs to be a person like that.
Now, I don't have an issue with people wanting to look better, do things to make themselves look better for confidence, because we all deal with insecurities, which is understandable. But I just don't agree when the 17-year-old girl or 18-year-old girl is getting anything done on her face, because it's like, let time develop. Like, you know, as you get older, like, all right, cool, try it then. But like, I don't know, that's just me.
Unless there's something like, you know,
Yeah,
maybe they're
something-
born
yeah.
with some whatever defect.
Do you guys
Yeah.
think that the excess of those procedures is a lack of self-love? Because I feel like recently I've been learning a lot about that just for myself in general. Like, the things that we do, the
You
way
want
that
to
we
get
want
your
to...
lips done? Is that what you're trying to
Oh,
say?
for sure, lips, but
They've already been done. They've already been done.
my calf's bigger, you know?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it's just like a lack of self-love forces you to do certain things that you may not really think you need, but because society and because you don't have that self-confidence in yourself, you're going to go and do those procedures at 16, 17. And when you're living in an environment where the people are just like, yeah, go ahead, or they're all already doing that, it's very simple to be like, oh, just a little bit over here, a little bit over there, and just keep doing it. I think a lot of it is a lack of self-love, men and women together, because they're even men.
But it's crazy you can even go and do shit at that age.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think. It's
Yeah.
insane.
There's a character atrophy that happens too, because you are met with this adversity of not being accepted by peer groups for being whatever, pretty enough, strong enough, lean enough, whatever it is. And then you resort to artificial means, a filter, right? So, you know, everyone who sees girls with filters are obsessed with filters, and then you see a real picture. It creates more of a shock.
right.
So this is your character, right? So it's not that you are an ugly person. It's because you made yourself so beautified that now when they really see you, there's the fall, right? There's the shock.
Yes.
See, now if you presented yourself as who you are, in the absence of focusing on the external emphasis to validate yourself, if you're able to go inside and work on your character, then you become more attractive naturally.
Right.
Yes.
Because you faced the adversity and you worked on yourself. Or maybe you discovered your voice. You discovered that your fucking nose was like that for a reason, right? And it's not a curse, it's a gift.
Right.
So then you find your voice so that no matter where you are, you'll never be intimidated. Because if you find yourself in a situation where you have to stand up for yourself and say what you believe in, if you're always using character filters, you don't believe in shit.
Yeah.
Right? So this teaches you to believe in yourself. Like people say, I need, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin whatever. It's like, what about vitamin me? Like, I'm going to rely on me. When the shit goes
that's
down.
a whole brand. We can start selling that.
Vitamin me. That's it.
People
Like,
buy
believe
that
in
shit.
yourself. Believe in yourself. Stop thinking that you can put all this value on external things. At the end of the day, you're the one that has to take action.
Yeah.
You're the one that has to change. And when you do that, you find your why. And that's the most valuable asset. You don't find your why looking at stats and fucking gathering information or listening to a podcast. You find your why by testing your shit.
Right.
And facing that shit.
Yeah. No, there's a lack of self-awareness, I feel like, in everybody, especially now. people are they don't have that self-awareness about who they are, about what they want in life, about their passions and purposes. Like that doesn't exist for a lot of people. They're just going with the motion. Oh, I need to be on Instagram. I gotta be big. I gotta look a certain way. And they're like, why? Like, what is your purpose?
Do you guys think that it has gotten even worse now after the whole COVID thing? When everybody was locked inside, and I feel like the social media, it's just gotten. It was bad before, but I feel like it just exploded.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
And it's just not going back to what it used to be.
Look, everybody sees what's going on. You know, you say the wrong thing. Things that were very controversial, that was fake news 3 months ago, that you were like, no, this is an NIH study. This is a study that says that, you know, that it was made in a lab, or that, you know, that it's, you know, the adverse effects of whatever, right? This is peer-reviewed study. You publish that and you get censored. You think that it's wise to put all your ducks in a social media platform that has arbitrary rules that can say they can censor and ban you anytime you want to?
Right.
But no, versus losing my following and my influence, I will bend my spine and I will close my mouth and I will do what they tell me to do, because I'm so afraid of losing the power, the illusion of power that I think I have. And that right there, that's a slippery slope, because one day they will turn on you. Or else, right?
It's crazy. I said, I almost can't, because I have people I know, like friends, who would tell me sometimes, Max, why are you saying these things? Why are you posting these things? They might shut down your account. Yes, so bring it on, I say. Shut me fucking down. I was like, I'd rather get shut. Because here's the thing too. Before COVID and everything happened, so I said, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough so that I can actually, I've done things that has nothing to do with being online. Like, I actually started hand drawing signs. Like I've done and I asked the guy once, I did a photo shoot and I asked him, so he did he made all of his money on Instagram. So I said, what do you do if Instagram is gone tomorrow? What are you going to do? He's like, oh no, you know what? And he's like, what, do you have any skills? Like, do you know how to do something? Yeah. Do you know how to build something? Do you know how to sew a shirt? I don't know. Like, what can you do? Literally cannot do anything. Mm-hmm. What the fuck are you going to do if social media is gone tomorrow? What are you going to do?
We used to be able to change oil and work on cars ourselves, right? You used to be able to change the distributor cap and do all that stuff. Now you plug it into a computer and the computer tells you what's wrong with it, and only a technician can work on it.
Oh, yeah.
They take away our capacity to care for ourselves and take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's actually a conversation. Who did I have this with? Where I said, like, what I need, like, if something I need in a man, I was like, I need you to fucking do shit with your hands. It was like a good point. I don't remember who said it. I was like, what if everything disappears tomorrow? Like, do you know how to make a fire? Do you have any clue how to do that? Do you know how to make food happen if all the groceries are gone in the store? Do you know how to do that?
That could be subjective because everybody's skill set is different. Like you have people that...
but a lot of people these days, younger people, they don't know how to do anything.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's insane.
They've atrophied.
Their
ability to survive
that makes sense.
is completely dependent on things they can't control.
There's like,
that makes sense.
Oh, they don't have any fucking... who said that? Hot Pockets. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna eat now?
Oh wow!
So you're in touch with the reality, right? You're in touch with the reality that none of this is guaranteed, and that tomorrow, if you don't know how to survive, you're fucked.
Here's the thing: I never in my entire life want to shoot an animal. But if we're fucking dying, you bet no, I know how to shoot, and I'm going to shoot a fucking deer, and we're going to make food.
That's right.
There we go.
Field dressing
I don't
animal real quick.
do that, but I will.
Field dress them right now.
Okay, I've never actually killed a deer, so I'm going to say if I do, it's going to take me a moment to figure out everything, how to do it and cook it and stuff, but I'll figure it out, you know?
Yeah, when you're in survival mode, you have to figure it out, so you will.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, JP, you were talking earlier about... your psychedelic experience, and that kind of dovetails exactly into what Max was talking about with like facing reality, right? Mm-hmm. But people get caught up in this fake world, and that fake world, like you said earlier, is you're born into it. So there's no way for you to differentiate. There's no contrast between reality, right? Because you've never been exposed to what reality really is, and that's all subjective anyway, right? That's a deep rabbit hole, right? But psychedelics really shake the foundation of what is let's just say, widely accepted. The consensus of humans have decided that this is the reality, right? Like, physics, engineering, all these hard sciences, right? But when you do psychedelics,
all of that goes out the window.
There's another good Netflix documentary
How to Change
about.
Your Mind?
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched like one episode. Okay, so I might be the only one who has not done psychedelics ever.
No,
But
he was. Oh, sorry.
But
You are a psychedelic.
You
I
are.
am. Yeah, I know I am.
Women are.
I wanted. We were gonna go ahead. Elaborate
I do
on
wanna
your
try that.
and your experience on that because he was talking about it. So
So I have a good friend of mine who, Luis, you know Luis, and
Oh, yeah.
he's super into all of that, right? And he had a lot of trauma that he was going through during the beginning of the pandemic. So it's funny that we're talking about COVID because I feel for a lot of people, it was the first time that they were ever alone for an extended period of time. Like
I'm sorry.
during
alone?
COVID, during the
Yeah.
lockdown,
What
that was
did
the
you say?
first time that they were ever alone.
Alone.
For a
Alone.
long period of time. And yeah, you're on social media, but you're not going out, you're not interacting with other people, and you're there with your thoughts, and that's it. And so for him, for example, he was going crazy, and so a friend of his recommended that he start doing some psychedelics and to explore his mind that way. And that's sort of how I got involved with that as well. And I remember the first time I did ayahuasca, and for those of you guys who don't know, it's like a root, and you drink it, and then you have a whole experience. That's
did
all
you
I
go
can
to
really
Peru or
say.
Mexico?
I did it here in Miami. So there was there was a shaman over here, and it was a big group of us, like 12 of us.
Yeah, in
And-
Florida, by
I
the
didn't
way,
know
just
there
a side,
was in Miami.
just a side note, right? So Miami, because of Santeria, that case in 1993, there was a case in Hialeah where they were sacrificing chickens, and the people were like, "You can't do that shit."
They're still doing
Right,
it.
and so it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court ruled that it was a religious freedoms issue. Now it was interesting. I had all these vegans say, I'm into ayahuasca because I'm vegan. I'm like, did you know that the only reason ayahuasca can be practiced federally is because of animal sacrifice? See how it works
Yeah,
out
it's
that
all-
way?
I never knew that.
Turned around.
Yes, but Miami is a hot spot for
Yeah.
it. It's a hot spot
I
for
never
it because
knew
you
that.
can
I
you
didn't
can
know that.
you're federally protected. You can use it. It's a religious tradition. The DA tried to seize a bunch of vine and all this stuff, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And you have a right to express your religion in this country. You have an individual relationship with God, even if it's cutting chickens off and doing hexes and curses. You have a right. You have a right.
Wait, how far can these things go?
Like 4 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was at the University of Miami, we used to have a little alligator in the lake at UM, and somebody pulled the alligator out of the lake and cut its head off as a ritual. Yeah,
Right.
like that, 10 years ago. Yeah.
And you were talking
Wow.
about the importance of intention and how that determines that affects your journey, right?
Sometimes you gotta know when you're messed up, right? You know that you've been
Let me
through
ask
trauma.
you. So, have you done it one time only, or
Ayahuasca
or
did one time, then I did other things.
Why
after.
did you? Was there a certain reason why you wanted to do it?
So it's gonna go a little long story. So I went to prison 2017, and then I had just gotten out in end of 2019. Right, and so I'm just going through the motions of getting out, and
I went for his goodbye dinner. I said he's so the last person who belonged there, but I think also he brought you good.
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
you didn't deserve to go there.
I
First of all, but-
deserved it, some money stuff.
So.
But yeah, so then I had just gotten out, and it was maybe 3 months at post release. And Luis he was already in the process of learning about himself that way. And I'm like, I got some trauma too. I've been through some crazy shit. Let me try it out. And it was less about, at that point in time, it was more about figuring out how to express those emotions, right? Which at that point I was in a situation where I couldn't express those emotions in a safe environment. And then when I got out, it wasn't an easy transition to be like, okay, cool, let me just let it all out here because I have a family to take care of, I have brothers and sisters who need their brother there to be, a provider again. And so I needed an environment where I could express those emotions in a safe place. And ayahuasca just forced everything out pretty much.
So I've always heard that you should be in a good mindset when you do this. Do you not agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, they ask you to cleanse your body. So they ask you to fast for like a week, only eat fruit, nothing processed, only drink water, no caffeine, nothing, like not even
shit.
sex, no masturbation,
Well,
nothing.
that's fine, but the coffee.
Yeah, because they want your body to be pure so that when you do ingest it, that you can
Okay.
experience the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's a very physical experience. Like you're throwing up, you're going to the bathroom, and it's like it's a 6 hour, 7 hour
Six
experience.
hours of
Yeah, and it's nausea. You're throwing up all the time. You're using the bathroom.
Flesh rotting.
You're-
And then you
Yeah.
feel incredible after? or how?
I don't know if Incredibles works.
Well, it does neurochemically. So MDMA if I'm saying this, if I'm butchering this, please correct me, anyone listening who's like a biochem. But I think you downregulate serotonin when you take MDMA, right? But you upregulate serotonin post DMT.
Right.
So you go through a horrific realizing experience of the emotions that you are repressing so that you can face the issues in your life, because we're always apt to escape because we have it available.
Right.
So it forces you to deal with those things, and you will feel miserable. It's like a breakup. You can't find another person to distract you. You can't do any drugs. You're just going to sit with that nasty misery. And then the biochemical response, the body responds by adapting and facilitating the post-experience changes that are experienced first neurologically, which allow you to perceive that, wait, I thought my life was horrible. Actually, my life is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a good place.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I got out of it. Like I remember seeing angels, like biblical angels with the fire in the sky and the rings around the fire, and like actual biblical angels. I remember watching them, and then my eyes are open, but I'm not seeing the sky. I'm seeing angels flying around, and I'm like, it was the most crazy thing in the world. And they're talking to me in bells.
This is the extreme. This is ayahuasca thing. I mean, there are so many other things.
I did Bufo, and that was even worse. Like it was all of the 6 hours of ayahuasca.
When he says worse, he means better.
Well, yeah,
after it was over, it was better.
Yeah, but imagine all 6 hours of ayahuasca in 15 minutes.
Drive-by shooting.
All of
it's
us
like
together.
a drive-by shooting of psychedelics.
I wasn't here. So that was my first time. We were talking earlier how I didn't realize that there was more to the world until I wasn't in it anymore.
Right.
And when I did Bufo, it's a white room. Imagine a white room, and it was just a flashing of lights consistently coming at you, right? And somehow you understood what they're saying, but there's no words. It's just light and shapes and symbols coming at you.
Yeah.
And I remember I woke up from that, and I'm in tears, right? And I haven't cried 20 years. I'm bawling in tears and tears and tears. And I keep repeating, I'm yelling this right here. I'm yelling, I need to be loved. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be loved.
Now, what was the intention?
The intention was trying to
heal,
yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it was
and
to heal. I'm bawling my eyes. I'm
right.
bawling like a baby. I don't remember the last time I cried. But after that, I felt so amazing. And I was going back to what we were saying before, how I feel like men don't have that self-love that they need in order to be men. And society right now with social media, with Instagram, it doesn't give you the comfort and the freedom to to understand that you need to be self-loved and that you need to care for yourself and that you need to appreciate yourself, because we're about the expectations about what it takes to be a man and you have to be a provider, you have to have this many social media followers, you have to make this much money each month. And it wasn't until I was able to be vulnerable and to accept the fact that I'm also valuable, and it has nothing to do with how I look. It has nothing to do with my bank account. It has just to do with me. Where I could say, okay, cool, let me work on me. Let me be the best version of myself.
Bro, it's crazy how the design of human behavior is completely engineered for a purpose, because women, in my opinion, and no offense, women in my opinion, it's been my experience, they don't understand unconditional love until they've had a child. And in the childbirth, that's why women throw men away now. Okay? Because there's no utility in a man. What is the utility of a man? To protect and provide and to procreate, to give me a baby, to let me experience my tits and my hips and everything, my physiology, my brain chemistry, my emotions is all for a child. So
you're saying I'm never going to know this?
No. I'm not saying it at all, because miracles happens every day. We're going to show you. So
I'm not going to have a keyboard. That's why.
So a woman is taught by a child unconditional love. That's a gift that a man gives. Now, when a woman knows what unconditional love is, she can give that unconditional love to the man, and the cycle continues. But if people don't, because
I'll be alone forever.
Because that's what you see. You see men take advantage of and reduce to what? Men need of the vulnerability of a woman to give them that unconditional love, right? And that vulnerability. They only learn that through the burden of experiencing the childbirth, being broken. You get broken, right? Men need that from her, but that's the gift that they give women. So that's how it's all works.
Honestly,
that is the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
It's crazy because the women that I've been in relationships with that have had children, even with the trauma that they've experienced or whatever, they have given me more unconditional love than women that have not gotten children. That's very interesting.
Because when you're a mother, when you become a mother, you're not just a mother of one.
Not unconditional. I mean, to a degree. Let's
You
be
don't think
real.
puppies
To a
work?
degree, because if it was like that, I'd be,
You'd be
I
still
think
with her.
so.
right?
still with her. Exactly. To a degree. Let's.
That's a heavy load. That's like some Jesus talk, right?
Yeah,
It's like no conditions.
Yeah.
Like, that's hardcore. But to a degree, there's a level of that. Pets show you unconditional love.
I mean, here's the thing. When I had dogs, my dogs were killed. That's a different story. But I felt I could have just spent my life with my puppies and like never spoken to a human again. No problem.
I feel like that's a trend right now on
And when
social
they
media.
were killed,
Just girls and their pets and their
Right.
cats, and like that's I don't need a
I don't
man. I
know,
have my
it's
pets with me. And,
something-
like that's the news. I see it on TikTok all day long.
like, I don't know.
You're gonna
I
turn
think
into
you
a
can
she-wolf.
love
You're gonna be one of those girls that I identify as wolf, like dog. Like, that's how it happens.
Yo,
That's
that's,
how it
great.
happens.
I'm gonna write
I
that
thought it was gonna be good, just me
immediately.
and my dogs.
That's gonna be on my Instagram account now, where it says like her, she,
Yeah.
but it says like
she wolf.
she wolf.
I'm gonna start growing face like dog hair.
You're on your way already.
Yeah, I know.
Start
Cut my hair.
howling. Like today we're gonna focus on a new cleansing routine where we're gonna howl together. Come on, everybody, ladies. That's right.
I'm like,
You were talking about something interesting
this
earlier.
is a funny comedy movie.
Earlier,
concept,
you were talking.
We tripping.
Earlier, you were talking about how
Should
certain
we do
people.
psychedelics on the podcast?
Yeah, right.
Yes, we should.
Yes, he
We
said.
should.
How? Oh, imagine how certain. I don't want to. Certain people that do what meditation and breath work. What were you saying? Like when we do that, we were having this crazy conversation that you were making so much sense with. I don't know if you want to elaborate or share on it. If not, then it's cool.
Oh, I can't remember what
it was so
breath
good.
work. Okay. Well, I can tell you one thing we were talking about earlier, right? Because we were talking about psychedelics open you to a greater, like people ask what psychedelics are. And I tell them this. I say, before we had telescopes, we couldn't see the moon. Before we had microscopes, we couldn't see that there were, atomic or whatever. Like there were bacteria that were out of our view that could affect us, right? We couldn't see that. So psychedelics are an instrument to observe things.
Somebody did psychedelics and got the brilliant idea on making these, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
So understanding that this opens up a whole new world of observation, you become aware of patterns, right? But they're not patterns that are controlled by the rules of science and physics and all that. They're patterns that pertain to you personally. And those personal pattern recognitions shape people's big moments in their life because there's huge shifts and changes that happen at periods in our lives to make big decisions, right? And quite often we pray for sign or intervention, or we tell the universe, teach us or whatever, right? So there's this example of these two schools of thought in psychiatry and psychology we're talking about. And it was causality, right? Cause and effect, and how everything is observable separate from ourselves, right? So it's like we have nothing to do with the outcome. It's out of our control. We just observe it. And when we know how to observe it, we can play the game.
Right.
But then there's no meaning in that because it's not personal, right? Science tries to take out what's personal and what's subjective. But the beauty of...
What are you doing?
I ran out of memory.
He ran out of memory.
I ran out of memory. I had to delete something.
He ran out of memory. That's why he was.
It's okay. I just added in a little sketch character in your face
there we
instead.
go.
I've done it before.
Sorry about that, guys.
So remember the synchronicity, right? Everybody's familiar, like the 111s and the 222s and the 333s. Everybody's seeing that. Or
Oh, geez.
you think of someone and someone
I see
calls
it every day
you.
now.
Yeah. So those things, right? We're talking about how psychedelics open you to two manifestations
Yes,
of
that's what
intelligence.
yes.
So we're talking about
Yes, we're talking about,
symbols,
symbols,
right?
yeah.
Because the universe communicates in number and with symbols. So the evidence of entities, of spiritual beings, of a spiritual world is like the movie Interstellar, where he was behind the bookshelf, right? And you couldn't see him, but you only observed the effects, right? And to her, he communicated through code.
Yeah, the watch too.
And the watch and the numbers, right? So that we think that these signs, which there's causality, which is separate and distinct, and it is removed from personal meaning. But meaningful synchronicity is meaningful because when you're thinking about something or someone and something, and at the exact moment you're thinking about them, something in the external world validates your inner dialogue, and they intersect, and you feel connected to you, your universe, everything, right? Like God or whatever creation intelligence puts you on the map right where you are and says you're having a meeting place with yourself.
Is that kind of the same thing when we FaceTime each other and we're both shitting at the same time?
Oh, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly.
Wait, we FaceTime and poop? We do? I don't
if you don't,
It's happened.
it's fun.
That's
If you
crazy.
How's it?
don't,
Oh, let me think.
it's all the drama, but
I'm trying
without
to think
the.
if we have.
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
special right there.
Probably.
You've never called me in while you were shitting.
Oh, wait, yeah, I did. Yeah,
We
you
need a
did.
He
podcast.
always calls me when I'm shitting out.
We need
Yeah,
a
that's
poopcast.
true.
We're not,
Poopcast.
we're not part of that group. I don't know what's going
Everybody
on.
needs to poopcast.
Yeah, we
we'll,
do.
we'll all
Yeah.
poopcast.
Well, you are now, because now you've
There
been
we
on
go.
the Only Do Anal and Prep podcast, and now you're
Only
a
do
part
what?
of it.
Only do anal and prep.
Yeah, that's the name of the podcast.
I had no idea.
there's
You
like,
didn't know that before you.
there's a
purchased
there's,
something that's
Didn't
safe.
know.
no idea.
there's a hidden, there's more to what the title is. There's a lot more to it. So
I hope
it's a
so.
hidden.
This is
Yeah.
like how we first met and the story. I just came out from the
Whoa,
hospital.
no, I'm kidding.
No, I just came out from the hospital,
Yeah.
and like I didn't know him that well, but like they had no food to give me in this hospital because everything had gluten and whatever, and I was on prep. I was like, what the fuck do I do? And we were talking because I don't remember, we had already started talking about doing some
I'm
sort of
gonna die,
business
but I'm not
together,
gonna break
whatever.
my diet.
No,
I'm
literally,
gonna
I
die,
thought I
but
was
I'm not
dying in
gonna
this
break my-
hospital. That's not a
Yeah,
fun
yeah,
story at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
It's not a fun story at all. I thought I was dying. And he came to the hospital with food for me. Because he's like, do you want me to come? I was like, no, I'm good. And then after we stopped at Whole Foods, because I needed to eat something and I didn't have it. I'd been in the hospital for like 20 hours. So we go there, and I don't know how we even got into the conversation.
Don't even let them know how.
No,
yeah.
we're not going to do it. So
Yeah.
we start talking about this, and I'm explaining. And he starts laughing, and he's laying on the floor in Whole Foods, and he can't breathe.
Yeah, it was
and some dude
hilarious.
is like, "Is he okay? Is he breathing?"
Yeah.
I was like, "He's just laughing. It's okay."
Hard, bro.
And then he laughs, and I was like, "This is the name. This has to be the name of the podcast."
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
That's how
it
it
all
was born.
stems
It was just
from
so
a joke,
funny.
and then it just was
Yeah,
hilarious.
it just. But I mean, it has a good meaning to it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Which we're gonna explain.
Hey, well, let's
Yeah.
commend him for his acts of selflessness to you
Oh,
in your time of need.
Yes.
huge.
Yeah. Some people
Very-
need evidence of angels, but I say angels are
Yeah.
among us.
Yeah,
I like that.
Definitely.
I like that a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
They are. They're doing random acts of kindness and love and compassion every day that keep us all connected.
and that's something honestly, like I think we were talking about that earlier. Like I know who I am as a person. I know how much value I bring to anyone's life, and sometimes I battle with the fact of having this ginormous heart, I guess. And sometimes I wish I could just squeeze it and just make it smaller because of all the disappointing things that have happened with my acts of kindness. So it's interesting, like when she needed help, like a part of me was like, oh, well, here you go. Like, I'm going to have this conversation. It's like, here you go. Well, you're going to help somebody else again, and that person's going to screw you over. So
Don't
I
ever
don't
think
know.
that way, man.
No, I mean, this is I'm saying. This is growth, right? So I had that conversation with myself because there was so many things happening with this during that time, as you know. And I'm like, man, like, all right, well, it's gonna continue to be me. See how this works, But it's done me is this act of kindness, who I am as a person. Like I feel now after talking to myself and after learning these experiences, it's all a lesson at the end of the day. So the more hurt and pain that you go through life, it's just. You're going to go through it regardless, even if you are not a great person. You're going to go through some type of experience there. It's going to allow you to understand that this is a lesson. So I don't know why I dived into that. I don't know.
No, I think it's super important though, because I battle with that same thing
You
myself
should-
all the time.
This is who you are, and this is who you should be.
Yeah.
You're a kind person. And I hate to take help. I really hate to take help from people. I want to do everything alone because that's what I'm used to. And I even like him offering to do this. And I was like, no. I was like, you know what?
Why?
It would be
Why?
because I just don't like to. I don't like help.
I'm the same way.
But I've been
Yeah, the same
taking
way.
help from him now
Same
from
way.
certain things, and
We
I
learn
was
from
like,
each other,
you
I
know
guess.
what? I really appreciate it. And I also try to tell him that I really appreciate it. Because I've always been like, I don't want people to help. I love helping people. I really do. Yeah. But I don't know why. And I think you're the same. Like, I don't like to be helped, but I like to help. And I can't say why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of something I deal with, and maybe you deal with too. I just have a lot of pride when it comes to people trying to help me. Maybe, or is it the fact that I'm so conditioned in helping everyone else that when I finally get it, I don't know how to receive it?
I don't
That's
think
probably
it's
what it is. I don't know.
Pride either. I don't know.
What do you guys think?
I just feel like I'm fully capable of doing this myself. Like, why would we involve somebody else into this?
It's dangerous because you can be an enabler. You know,
but I've also tried to learn to know when I need help. I said when I went to the hospital, so actually a neighbor of mine brought me to the hospital because at first I was like, I'll be fine. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I am fine. So I called him and he brought me there and was like, you have to give better too. It's like, I don't know. It goes in each way. People that are very selfish people, maybe don't like to help people, we need to get better at helping people. And then other people that don't want help, we need to get better at that too. To maybe take help.
Gratitude. I mean, I don't mind giving to people, and I don't even care if they reciprocate. I just hope that they acknowledge and that they're grateful.
That's
it's that they're grateful, right? Because I feel like with my daughters, with my kids, I've had to really set this in their mind. Is that so? I have twin daughters. And one of them is always trying to help because it secretly makes her feel better, right? Of course. Because she's found her role. She found her place in helping her sister. But I told her at a certain point, your compassion becomes debilitating because now your sister isn't being able to figure it out on her own, right? And that's what you want. You're like, I want to be independent because I want to figure it out on my own because if there's ever a situation where I need to step up because you can't do it, I got to be able to do it. So I explain how today's world is all about compassion. It's all about self-love. It's all about these things, right? And I'm like, compassion works till you're about 5 years old. I see compassion, like 100% blind compassion, 100% total commitment, and unconditional love, right? But as soon as you start getting to the point where some responsibility has to be had and you got to be accountable for your actions, I'm not doing you a service if I am not holding you accountable. Because then you're not learning on your own. And you're not going to like me as a father. As a man, you're not going to like me, but I don't care. Because when you get to a point where you figure out that you can do it on your own, that's where my voice comes in your head. And that's my job as a parent, to make sure that you understand to do things on your own and that everyone in the world is going to seem so fucking nice when they say, oh, you have so much compassion. Let me do this for you. Let me do this for you. And you realize that they're feeding off of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Even when they're giving to you, they're feeding off of you. And that's how the devil comes to you as a bright and shining angel. Be careful with that.
I have an ex-relationship like that. A person that had never done anything himself, ever. Didn't know how to do anything. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. It's like...
What made you get into that relationship? Like, did you figure that out afterwards?
Oh, you know very well.
I mean,
it was...
we don't know.
But, so when I met this person, we didn't speak the same language, and it was kind of exotic and interesting. And there were a lot of things that I didn't realize then because of the language barrier, which I know now.
That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we're still very good friends. Maybe he's listening to the podcast and he won't understand it anyway, so it's okay. No, we're still good friends today, and I wish him all the best in the world. But I wish, and I know, unfortunately though, I know still to this day, he still never does anything. Whenever he needs to do something, he takes help from somebody. And I don't think that's a good thing. Yeah. So I got a random text, like, after we separated. We still talk sometimes, like, just briefly. So I got a text and it said, hey, I just paid my first bill online. So I didn't respond. Then I got a text back, are you proud of me? And I said, no, I'm not. And then I did a bunch of applauding emojis. And I was like, are you serious right now?
Is that your maternal instinct connecting to him? Did he have a problem with his mom?
I don't know.
His mom coddled him, right? And took care
probably.
of him.
No, I don't blame him. So I said, this is a whole different story and a whole different episode, podcast. It's a very long, crazy story. But I said, I think I realized pretty soon into the relationship these things. Because in the beginning, it was just like very interesting and exciting because we weren't speaking the same language, It was cool. And the more I learned, the more I realized. But then I don't think I really wanted to admit to myself that I had made a mistake. So I really tried. And I really fucking tried. And I mean, I really tried. I read all of these books, the 5 love languages, and I tried to figure out what do I do to do everything right. No.
Yeah.
It was a lesson.
Do you feel like
regret it, but
do you feel like that relationship hardened you?
Yes, it's more like this. So for a long time I was thinking, badly of myself. Sometimes I was like, shit, am I doing, okay, so this person is a narcissist. So I was always like, wait, am I crazy? Maybe I'm doing all of these things wrong. Maybe I'm doing this wrong, whatever. And I just think suddenly one day, and I really tried really hard and things were getting better and everything. And then suddenly one day I was sitting, I still remember when it happened. I was sitting by my computer working and it just like fell into me and I was like, Max, you're not doing anything wrong. This is not working. And I was like, no, you are not the piece of shit he's saying you are. And I would just realized like my worth. And I just said, okay, let's not do this anymore. And he was like, oh shit, what did I do? I'm like, you know what? Nothing. I just realized. It just came to me today. You didn't do anything right now. I just realized it.
Who sent you that message?
My house? I don't know. My computer.
This shit downloads, right?
That's not a good enough sign for. Well, we can have that. That's another podcast.
You wasted another 2 years?
No, I want to
3
sign.
years?
No, I want to
saying.
sign, but that's still not a good enough proof for me that there is that God
so
exists.
that brings me to the story, right?
Yeah.
Of Bruce and Esther.
Bruce?
Bruce and Esther.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is in the psychological literature. You can look it up yourself. It's a true story. So Bruce and Esther were dating for 2 weeks. Bruce was told by Esther, go get me some coffee. Bruce goes to Starbucks. He's going to buy some coffee, pulls out some $1 bills. Wow.
Oh, that story you said.
One of the dollar bills has Esther's name on it. That's strange because I'm dating Esther, right? So he's like, wow. So I'm going to save this dollar bill and it's going to be really cute and I'm going to package it up and then I'm going to present it to her when I ask her to date me exclusively. So he goes back and he thinks this is really cute and cool and synchronistic, right? So he gives her the package. She opens it up and she looks at it and she sees her name on this dollar bill and she's completely in shock. And he feels like a deep disturbance, like a reaction in her, but she gets emotional, but she holds it back and she stays quiet and she goes, yeah, I'd love to date you exclusively. But he could sense something was off. So he asked her, are you okay? And she says, no, I'm fine. It's okay. So eventually they get married. 2 years go by. They have kids. And they're moving into their new place. And she finds the frame with the dollar. So she goes, oh, now's the time. She goes and gets Bruce. And she goes, I never told you this story because it was a little too young. It was a little too early in our relationship. But 10 years prior, I was in a horrible relationship. And I lost all faith in love. I believed that there was never true love out there for me. But in my last desperate attempts to just get some kind of proof from God or whatever, she wrote her name on 10 $1 bills. And she distributed those dollars. And then the day that Bruce came and gave her the gift, and she opened it and she realized that this would be the man that she would marry. Because that's what she said. That was her intention. She said, the man who brings me this dollar is the man that's going to be the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. So when she saw that dollar and she realized,
I'm going to do it.
And she was, right. So that's this thing where you're going to practice this exercise of getting this confirmation, right? You need evidence.
Yes.
You need
and just
evidence.
for me, thinking that is not evidence enough for me.
Even that story?
My story.
Okay, yeah,
My
you getting the download and just going, hey, what are you doing with this guy? It's a mistake.
No, because
Get away.
here's the thing. I am a lot in my head. I'm a lot in my own world. I think a lot all the time. So for me to just get thoughts like that is not to me somebody else giving me that thought, if that makes sense. No, but I'm also saying I want to see something. I'm more open to it. I'm not a true believer because I've never seen anything. I've never gotten a sign. That is a sign to me. I know you guys say, oh, but what if... No, I've never gotten a sign that's a sign to me.
Try some ayahuasca. You're gonna get some sign.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. But
Do you think
I
that?
gotta do the competitions and everything first. I can't do this
You're gonna see some
detox
shit.
yet. If I do this detox, you guys realize that I'm gonna be like a 50-pound max going to ayahuasca.
I got a question about that. Do you think that the reason why she hasn't gotten a sign is because she hasn't wanted it bad enough?
I think it's because she's focused.
Focused on.
Yeah, I think she just admitted that she's very in her mind and she knows what works and she's focused on achieving a goal and observing
I've never
signs.
even been able to fully like relax in my entire life.
And observing
It's
signs
just
is going to
now
make
the past
you
few years that I
everything that you have going on.
Yeah.
Those, you know how they say like enlightenment is a destructive process. So everything, when you start seeing these things, you're going to question everything about what you're doing. So maybe seeing these things, your subconscious mind knows that it's not the right time to see these things because you have a job to do. And to deconstruct everything that you're doing right now, you're on the right path because there's many people you're going to
I
help.
also think back then when I was in this relationship, I said I was paying for everything. I didn't have a free second of the day because my stress was always to be sure I could pay all the bills.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I'm like, I take that time. If I'm one day, I'll be like, you know what? Well, especially now when I'm on prep too. I said, people think that, oh, it's my genetics. Oh, I'm so blessed. Like I just drop my weight and I go on stage and I win. No, that's not how this works. Like I follow my prep 100%. Every single night I sleep 7 to 8 hours. No exceptions. Like I do everything so to the point. I do not stress over anything. I mean, you know, I was in a hospital with a colitis infection. He FaceTimes me and I'm laughing and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, no, it hurts like a bitch. And he's like, why are you laughing? I'm like, because I'm going to win my competition now. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's a sign. Like, I'm not even going to stress about this. This is great. And I said, now.
That was a clear example.
The thing is, so
that.
I have now experienced my little.
Just a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I have just now gone through my little setback for this competition, so I'm all good now.
She was a clear example of when you are trying to achieve greatness or trying to achieve something, you're going to go through all these obstacles. It's going to get worse and worse and worse because you're getting closer to your goal. And I saw that in her because she was like, I'm laughing because every year I take home the championship. This happens. Like, you know, even what's her name? I broke
my foot too at the same time.
What's her name? Whitney Jones. She ended up she broke her leg and she was on the Olympia stage doing her routine with her leg broken. Her leg was broken the whole time and nobody knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are extremities.
Yeah, she just took the numbing medicine and just did what she had to do. And by the time last 30 seconds of her doing performance, that's when all the pain came in, but she was already backstage. So even up till you get to where you want to be in terms of your accomplishments, you're going to go through this countless lessons.
It's more about like, what do you let the obstacle do to you? Like, is it gonna destroy you? Is it gonna change your mind? Is it gonna make you feel like shit? Are you gonna stress about it?
Yeah, it seems like
you have to just like, I know it's super, super, super hard to not stress. Because I have clients now like starting to stress and they start to retain water and their cortisol spikes and they fucking whatnot. You know, I was like, I know, and I don't even know what to tell them to not stress, but like, let's figure it out. That's what we're gonna figure out together now. What do you need to? The shit is falling on you, but you need to just like, you know what? It'll be fine. Right. It's gonna be fine.
Well, go into your training. Go into your training, right? Dedicate yourself more into your training.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has whatever they need to do. I figure out what I need to do to not stress over things that are happening. Like I can get briefly stressed over something. It's not like I never get stressed, but I don't let it. Like it would come to me and I was like, "Fuck," you know. And I was like, "You know what? It'll be fine. I'm going to figure this out."
You don't let it impact you long term. You deal with it in the moment and you change your mindset and just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Did we finish talking about your experience with the psychedelics and completely or not necessarily? I mean, you did share some things, but like...
Have you done any psychedelic that doesn't make you puke and poop and stuff?
Yeah, I did the Bufo alvarius. I don't know if you heard of it. It's like a frog poison in Mexico. Like the frog buries itself under the
That's
desert.
not the one you said took 15 minutes or something?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
But you said, no, oh, it wasn't
Ayahuasca.
crazy
It wasn't
experience
ayahuasca,
like that.
No, I think that one was crazier than the ayahuasca, just because it was so fast and so intense. And it was 15 minutes of apparently just pure crying. But yeah, I felt so much better afterwards. Again, I think we left off was I just felt like I deserved love as well. The same way that I can give love, I can receive it.
But is there a psychedelic that, because all of these, they're very like extreme. I feel like you feel really bad and then you feel really good, kind of.
I feel like it's anything that it's worth having. It's you're gonna feel the stress of going through the process, but once you've achieved it, you feel good again. Even like mushrooms, for example. So depending on how much you take, it could either be a really, really nice trip and you're having a great time seeing colors, or it can be something where you're crying.
It's the exact same thing that you're saying with training, and shit goes happen, and you can either respond with anxiety and make the trip horrible, or you have this, I'm going to be good on this trip. That same thing you're telling yourself is the exact same thing you tell yourself when you get into a crazy thing with trip, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go on a bad trip. No, I'm not. I'm good. It's the same thing.
Same exactly.
Okay. I said I've never tried anything.
We'll try some together next time. But actually, I wanted to ask you a question, because you mentioned that I thought it was a very interesting comment, also bouncing off of what you said, how going back to dating, and you said that the girl that you dated that had kids was the one that showed you the most love.
Yeah.
Right? How did she show you that love? That's something that I've always wanted to...
JP's right now thinking, where's the dating app with single moms?
Nah, I can't date single moms.
No, I'm just kidding.
What are moms at? Single moms at?
Been there, done that.
Milfies.
If you think about it, now that I'm thinking about it, I started noticing how she treated her daughter, and like how attentive she was towards her, and how much love she was showing her or whatever. And then she was at times very attentive towards me in that same aspect, but maybe not the same exact, because there's no
very different.
There's absolutely different between mother and daughter situation. But I started noticing that in that type of relationship, I was like, oh wow, this is a little different. She's actually being attentive towards me. She's like, hey, do you need anything? Do you need this? I could do this for you. And then sometimes, I would get home and things would be done. Like she would like clean up my room and like set everything up for me. Like, not that I needed it, but like she would just do it just cause. Right. And I'm not saying that women have to do that for me, but it was just a nice, kind gesture on her part. It was different from the experience. Not that I've had these terrible experiences with the prior partners, but the love languages were a lot different.
Paying attention, listening, right?
Yeah,
she's paying attention to her kid, and that teaches her like to be in the moment with that thing that needs all of her attention. So there's no distraction. It's 100% devotion. So then she can use that with utility in every relationship, because the feedback of confirming that you're listening is those random acts of kindness. Because you weren't asking her to do these things.
No.
But because she was listening to you and you didn't expect her to, and then it proved that she was paying attention, that's what got your heart like, whoa,
it's nice, man, because I did a lot for her. But it was kind of even one day, I mean, I personally, like Max here, I personally don't know how to receive gifts. Like in my mind, it's very awkward, but you will never notice that. So I remember I came home and she did all that. Plus, like, I came home to like a series of clothes. Like, hey, look, I bought you these jeans. I bought you a nice pair of shirt. Like, it was like 5 pairs of jeans and like 5 pairs of shirts. I've just never had anybody do that for me before. And I was just like blown away. It's
crazy, right?
Yeah, it was just to be on the opposite side felt pretty good for once, pretty good. You're spending thousands and thousands of dollars, and somebody's spending, maybe $100 or $200 on you. It feels amazing.
The intention behind
the intention behind it.
Your gender, your roles in a relationship that are prefabricated, right? This baggage that you think you have to act like these people should never obstruct your ability to display kindness for the person that you say you love.
100%.
You should be free in whatever it is in your giving, and don't let those rules affect, like, because those things, they're used as like conditions, right? There's the conditions. Well, if he doesn't do this, then I'm not doing that, and if they don't do this, then I'm not doing that.
I agree.
And they guard you guard yourself, you wall yourself in this protective illusion because they're not meeting your expectations. So then you're free to judge them you're free to project everything that you don't accept about yourself onto them. Right? Because that makes you feel better about yourself.
Now, I do want to add that I'm not saying that women that don't have children don't have that capability.
Right.
Let's be clear, because there are women out there that have been raised in homes where they have been taught this, be attentive and be nice and all this other stuff, whatever you want to call it. But it was just, for me, it was just my personal experience. That's all.
I love that, because for me, a big deal from like whenever I'm dating is it's like effort, right? So if a girl can show me, and I don't mean effort like financially, I don't mean 50-50. I just mean effort with asking me questions.
When do men ever ask financially?
Like, man, the crazy thing happened to me.
There's just a lot of different ways to effort, and it's different for everybody.
Listen, the craziest thing happened to me.
Because I said it all depends what means something to you. To somebody, it is a physical gift.
Yeah.
To somebody else, it's something else.
Right.
Like it would make my world if somebody took out the trash. Like, it sounds stupid, but
effort is different.
I've been with people who would never lift a finger for anything. Like, even him, like, he would come over, he asked me if he should take my trash out. I was like, what?
Well, sense of smell
Like,
is 5 times more heightened with women than it is for men. So taking out the trash would be very important to you.
This is an example.
Never thought about that.
He was tapping into something. What were you going to say?
I can't breathe anyway.
No, again, like, small things for me are huge, right? And so I'm a gentleman for everybody. Whether I like you, I don't like you, you're a sister, mom.
Whether I don't
like, I'm always going to open the door for you. I'm always going to open the door to the car. I always, whenever, even among friends, we go out to eat, I pay for it because that's just how I was raised, right? So I'm going out with a friend of mine, and I open the door for her, normal, nothing crazy. Mm-hmm. I get to my side of the car, and my door's open. And in my head, I'm like, damn, I left the door open the entire time. Somebody robbed me. Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And I go inside, and I'm like, yo, you saw my door's open. I left it open. She goes, no, I opened it for you. And I'm like, what do you mean you opened it for me? She goes, yeah, I opened it from the inside. And I was like, yo, my bar for women went up here. Like, she opened my door for me. Then the like small gesture was huge.
You know that's from what's that movie?
Bronx Tale.
The Bronx Tale, yeah.
If you open the door for her and she don't lean over and open it for you, you dump her.
That's right.
You dump her.
Listen, when she did that, I was in the car for like a good 10-15 seconds staring at her like, you want to get married today? Like, what's up? Like,
that's another thing I wanted to touch base on, because we spoke about that earlier. This is my personal perspective on this, and you guys don't have to agree with me, but a man knows when he sees a woman if she's the one immediately. I feel like yes, I feel like when a man I think it's a little different with men because we're more logical towards things, and the moment we get that sense of emotion, it's a little bit different. When a woman sparks a man's interest, and so if I'm interested in a woman, let's say like she sparks interest to the point that it's like, man, I need to be with this woman now. Like, what do I have to do to be with her, right?
That doesn't work for me.
So give me a second. I'm going to explain.
No.
Yeah. So a man visualizes kids. He visualizes how she's going to be like being married. He visualizes how she's going to treat me already just by certain interactions and things like that. When he finds the one, there's a specialist, he's a relationship specialist, and he talks about how when there's no such thing as a time period when a man knows she's the one or not. When he knows for some reason, like there's some type of spiritual magic or chemistry that happens in a man's mind. He imprints the woman and knows that this is the woman that he wants to be with.
How does it work for women? Did she say something about that?
I personally don't know, because women are obviously based off emotion. So like your emotions are like all over. You're probably like thinking differently. I have no idea. I can't really tap into that.
That goes back to like women learn unconditional love from bearing a child, right? So this is my whole theory on this, that a woman who hasn't had a child. So I addressed a woman when she has a child and how she behaves. So a woman to a man, and there are exceptions because they're raised right, but there are a lot of women that, typical in a Western society, the father just plays a facilitatory role. He's an ATM. He provides support to protect and provide. So he's very unidimensional. And when a woman becomes of age, it's kind of off limits. Dad isn't really going to talk to you about those things as much, right? But the dynamic of me understanding what a man is pertaining to me and my needs is one-dimensional. It's about, you're going to take care of me. I'm not your dad, right? Now, if you exhibit respect and you acknowledge what it took for me to get in this position. Because what did it take for your dad? It took me all of that to get in this position to provide for you too, right? So there's always this thing before you have a kid, it's all about me because that's the only dynamic I know.
Right.
That's the only way I know how to do it. But once you have a child and you understand like, oh, this is who I am in the universe. This is the grand design of all this. Now I'm a facilitator of life. I make people. I bring people into the world. There's a certain responsibility to that. I can't be a self-entitled bitch my whole life. And then as soon as you go through as a man, a few self-entitled fucking narcissistic bitches, the hardest part is to discard all that baggage and not and say to yourself, yeah, I've learned my lesson, but you know what? I'm still going to love. I'm still going to love. That's the hardest thing because there's so many lessons to be learned. And you think I think I was wise. But as you said, as soon as you think you figured it out and you think you're wise, that one is going to walk into your life and she's going to require, because she's the one, she's going to require for you to dish all that baggage and all those lessons that you think you got figured out to protect yourself and to make you feel like you're got a bulletproof vest on no matter what. I'm never going to let myself cry and be vulnerable or do this, or I'm never going to put myself in a position where I'll be used and taken advantage of. No, you will. For the right one.
You'll let yourself get used and taken advantage of for the right one.
Thank you very much.
You allow yourself to become submissive
and vulnerable
with the woman and sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There's no weakness in Christ's sacrifice. Mm-hmm. You're going to give yourself, your body, your flesh, your pain, your effort, your life, everything that you know to somebody other than yourself. That's beautiful. That's not weakness. That's the most powerful thing a person could ever do. There is no greater sacrifice than one person gives their life to somebody else. Like I've done all my family, I did contract work for the military. When you deal with special operations people, part of Bud's training is drowning your bro. Wow. You drowned. Okay, so you have EMT trained guys. You have guys that put through water confidence tests that have weights strapped to them, and they wait till they fucking drowned. And then at the last minute, they pull their fucking buddy out and they resuscitate them, because that's critical response, right? That's real life fucking shit. You imagine how much fucking faith you have to put in the next man, and you imagine what it's like too. The ritual of baptism by fire. Mm-hmm. That's a ritual of baptism by fire. Mm-hmm. So our whole world, our safety, everything comes from that level of sacrifice. We should all aspire to have that level. And women do it when they give birth. They are willing to die. I just had some friends that did, and it wasn't Carolina and TJ, but they just got in vitro done. They're both huge ayahuasca freaks too. So they have that experience, and then they have the birthing experience. And what these midwives told my friend Adam's wife was, okay, there's a particular point in the birthing process where you're actually going to feel like you're going to die. And that's usually when the hospitals intervene and they give you all the drugs and they give you the spinal tap and all that stuff, right? The epidural and all this stuff. But you're going to resist that, because every human life that's born naturally is born in a moment of courage where you take your life in your hand. And that fearlessness in the face of your own death, you push out another life into the world. And that's programmed into every single child. That's psychedelics. That's life. That's childbirth. That's the rites of passage.
Are we all going to go home and call our moms now and ask, Mom?
You were willing to die for me to live.
Tell me right now, what did you take?
That right there just blows my mind. And that's what's missing. Everybody wants to live a fantastic, fulfilled life, but no one's willing to die.
I agree. Well, we have
Should we wrap up?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we could talk all day.
When are you guys coming back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's do it again.
Let's do another one after I compete. I mean, you're more than welcome to have a podcast without me if you want. I can be on FaceTime.
We need to have a bro podcast. We need to have there's a lot of,
Well, no, I need to be on FaceTime on it, obviously.
Of course.
This is our podcast.
Yeah.
We'll do a Zoom podcast.
But you guys can talk bro shit and just put me on the FaceTime and
of course.
Put this part on mute.
Yeah, of course. I honestly feel like there's obviously there's men podcasts out there, but I just feel like men have a lot to say as well. And right now, nowadays, there's
We're
more.
3 guys and I'm 1 woman, which is barely even a normal woman anyway. So.
No, I mean, of course, you're a little bit different. You're a little more masculine.
Instead of 3 men and a baby, it's 3 men and a babe.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Something like that.
But do you want to finalize or say anything?
No, I mean,
anything that
I
you
appreciate you guys inviting me to have this conversation. I learned a lot.
Any advice you would give someone that is trying to, do what you do because you're passionate about your photography? Anything that any inspired photographers that, or just in general, even dating,
Or
anything.
ashwagandha.
Ayahuasca.
I think, Linda, you deserve to feel good about yourself. You deserve to be happy because you're on this world for a very short amount of time, and you're here to explore and experience and to become the person you're meant to be, and not to be afraid of what society tells you, not to be afraid of social media, not to use social media as a guide or use social media at all to determine what kind of life you should live. Like, live a life that you want to live because it makes you truly happy, and live your life with purpose, because if you don't set up your own purpose, the world will try to dictate it. And the way the world is right now in society, it's a scary place. It's not the place that you want to get your lessons from in that way. So figure them out yourself and do them for yourself.
Amen.
Where can we find you? Where can we find you?
Yeah.
We'll put all the links in the caption as usual. So I will link to your Instagram, whatever you want me to link to. I'll put.
Perfect.
Yeah, but just throw it out there either way. Throw it
You
out there.
can follow me on Instagram at John Phillip, 3 underscores at the end, and that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody. Thank you,
Word.
David.
Take
Thank
it
you, JP.
easy.
Thank you, Achilles.